Just this July 2026, an abrupt wave of celebrities taking to social media to demand their unpaid wages blew up and took over Weibo's trending topics. That single moment completely tore away the final mask of mainland China's entertainment industry. Celebrities who used to pull in up to 2.08 million yuan a day and spend money like water are suddenly finding themselves in the exact same boat as everyday people trapped in a nightmare of hit and run. Production teams defaulted variety shows and massive wage slashes by fleeing investors. In today's video, we're cutting right through the glitz and glamour behind this sudden wave of celebrity wage demands, pulling back the curtain on the grim, brutal reality of an entertainment industry in full collapse amid the country's economic hard landing. Major luxury brands pulling their sponsorships, real estate giants, the industry's biggest bankrolls collapsing, and regional TV stations along with streaming platforms forced into extreme survival tactics. But in the middle of this storm, the most shocking part isn't seeing these high and mighty stars suddenly forced down to the level of everyday workers. It's the ruthless, unforgiving reality of class divide. When top celebrities don't get paid, they can leverage millions of social media followers to launch a public uproar, forcing investors to settle their debts that very night. Meanwhile, lower-tier production crew members, extras in Hengdian, and millions of ordinary workers whose hard-earned money is trapped behind concrete and steel are left completely helpless with nowhere to turn. This isn't just a rough patch for showbiz, it's a full-blown crisis of our time, and every single industry is feeling the burn. First off, let's take a look at who's actually driving the viral conversation dominating the trends today. If we rewind back a few years, what did China's entertainment industry really look like? Before we tear this all down piece by piece, if you want to support Trace Zero so we can keep bringing you deeper, long-form investigations, consider joining Trace Circle. You'll get exclusive stickers featuring my face to use in the live chats and comment sections. I'll see you there. Hey Tracers, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there. In today's video, we're digging deep into the dark reality hiding behind the dazzling facade of China's entertainment world. We're going to look at how an economic collapse and the fall of major investors forced celebrities to drop their pride and publicly chase down unpaid wages on social media. And most heartbreaking of all, we'll expose a brutal, gut-wrenching divide. While A-list stars can leverage millions of followers to get their money overnight, what actually happens to the little guys, the crew on the ground, the extras, and everyday people whose voices are completely silenced in the dark? Because you never know how deep this hole goes. That was an era when easy money flowed like water. The myth of unbelievable wealth as big investors blindly chased astronomical profits. The public watched in utter shock as celebrities bought luxury designer bags like they were picking up groceries, living in lavish mansions worth hundreds of millions of yuan. But today, these same stars who used to guard their public image religiously and made sure every single Weibo post was flawlessly polished by their PR teams are completely throwing pride out the window and taking matters into their own hands on social media, screaming at the top of their lungs just like blue-collar workers fighting for their unpaid wages. In the early hours of July 9th, celebrity Zhao Pinlin became the first to fire a public shot, openly demanding unpaid wages from a variety show director. He called out the director for tens of thousands of yuan in unpaid performance fees, as well as money borrowed from his friends that was never paid back. The other party kept dragging their feet, citing cash flow issues. And this deadbeat director has been stalling on the payments since last year. Zhao Pinlin had filmed for 2 full seasons of the show and even helped promote it through multiple live streams, yet his fees were nowhere to be seen. Once Zhao Pinlin went public with his story, several other stars who had worked on the show began speaking out in solidarity. Celebrity Zhao Qibo bluntly pointed out that this director was already notorious for having a terrible reputation. Lu Yi left a comment thanking Zhao Pinlin for having the guts to speak up. Meanwhile, Tao revealed that he had been trying to play nice and collect his pay quietly behind closed doors, only to realize that so many of his peers were in the exact same boat. They were all victims. The controversy snowballed almost instantly and hijacked the top of the trending lists, fueled by wave after wave of artists joining in to collect their debts. Before long, several A-list variety show stars and first-generation idols from hit survival shows reshared the news, jumping headfirst into the fray. They exposed the ugly side of popular variety shows backed by giant streaming platforms, revealing a pattern of withholding performance fees, makeup artist salaries, and even basic travel expenses. It's a deeply ironic scene. In the eyes of the general public, celebrities are the ultimate privileged class. But faced with cold, hard contracts and unpaid IOUs, they are no different from construction workers baking in the sun at a job site without a paycheck. At the end of the day, they are just workers selling their time and popularity for a wage. When the very people sitting at the top of the food chain are forced to ditch their pride and beg for their rights on social media, it sends the most dangerous and undeniable signal to every level of society. The clients in the entertainment world, the financial tycoons who used to hold all the power, literally have zero money left today. So how did mainland China's entertainment industry, once overflowing with cash, end up in such a tragic state in just 2 to 3 short years, to the point where they can't even pay their stars? The answer is dead simple. Over the past decade or so, the big bankrolls keeping the industry alive have taken a massive hit from the current macroeconomic climate. They've suffered a total financial meltdown and surrendered en masse. Just cast your mind back in the past, whether it was shooting TV dramas, massive talent survival shows on local TV stations and streaming platforms, or hit variety shows. Who were the biggest sponsors backing every single project? The answer: real estate giants, tech behemoths, P2P lending platforms that popped up like mushrooms after rain, and new energy EV brands. Back then, every time a new real estate project launched, developers wouldn't hesitate to throw around tens of millions of yuan just to get an A-list star to sing 2 songs on stage. For a single variety show, property brands would blindly drop hundreds of millions of yuan just to secure the main title sponsorship. But looking around today, those same real estate giants are defaulting one after another, gasping for air just to survive. Tech giants are busy rolling out massive layoffs, axing non-core businesses, and pinching pennies to save themselves. When the big money behind the curtain is teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, where is any spare cash supposed to come from to sponsor variety shows? Where is any money left to invest in high-risk TV dramas that cost hundreds of millions of yuan to make? The domino effect of this collapse trickled down step by step. Step 1. Advertisers pulled out completely, slashing budgets by over 90%. Step 2. Stripped of advertiser cash, major streaming platforms like Tencent, IQIYI, Youku, and regional satellite channels were forced into survival mode. They canceled variety projects en masse and enforced ruthless budget caps on drama productions just to cut costs. Step 3. Production houses and distributors that failed to secure platform budgets or lucrative broadcast rights suffered sudden cash flow deaths. As a result, Hangdian studios and production hubs faced their darkest era in history. Projects actually getting filmed could be counted on one hand, while countless crews were abandoned mid-production because follow-up funds dried up after investors suddenly fled, leaving directors, actors, and ground crew staring at each other in utter disbelief. The performers jumping around entertaining audiences on stage only realized the bleak reality once the show wrapped and aired. When they turned around to collect their pay, the organizers' bank accounts had already been frozen by the courts a long time ago. Months of hard work ultimately turned into a few worthless sheets of paper, which, even stamped with official red seals, couldn't be cashed in anywhere. This is a structural disaster that started from the top-level capital drying up, trickling all the way down, and ruthlessly swallowing every worker in the industry. Facing this reality, some might snicker. So what if celebrities don't get paid? They made obscene amounts of money back in the day anyway. Even if they're owed a few million yuan, their lives are still 1,000 times better than everyday people. Why waste sympathy on them? And fair enough. We don't need to waste our tears on a star driving up in a luxury sports car to collect unpaid wages. But what really sends a bone-chilling shiver down your spine about this wave of debt collection to the point where it threatens to ignite a massive social conflict is how the gap in reclaiming basic rights between these top figures and ordinary people at the bottom feels as wide and terrifying as the Mariana Trench. When celebrities experience wage defaults, they hold the ultimate privilege to speak up. With a simple tap of their fingers, they can upload a single complaint to a Weibo account backed by millions or even tens of millions of followers, and within minutes, that post shoots straight to the top of the trending lists. Under the crushing pressure of public outcry and fierce internet backlash, production companies and platforms are backed into a corner to protect their public image and brand reputation, often calling emergency late-night meetings that very evening. Even if they have to scrape the bottom of the barrel and pull together cash from every corner, they still prioritize paying off these big stars first. Because celebrities hold massive social clout, big investors wouldn't dare publicly cross them. But have you ever stopped to think on that exact same production set, or behind that exact same variety show, are the stars in front of the camera really the only ones whose pay is being withheld? When the cash flow of a project completely dies and the director and investors run away, the very first ones handed a worthless IOU, the very first ones cut off from their livelihood, are the assistant camera crew on set who haul tens of kilograms of equipment through 16-hour shifts, and the workers squatting on the ground, eating cold 15 yuan meal boxes. It's the background extras standing in freezing night winds just to play dead corpses. It's the wardrobe assistants and makeup artists pulling all-nighters until dawn just to alter costumes for the stars. Unpaid fees of a few thousand to tens of thousands of yuan might be pocket change to a celebrity, not even enough to buy a single pair of sneakers. But to these lower-tier workers, that money represents next month's rent. It's formula milk for their kids back home. It's life-saving money when a family member falls ill in the hospital. But can their voices ever break through to Weibo's trending topics? Not a chance. Their Weibo accounts have barely a handful of followers, and their desperate cries for help are instantly swallowed whole by a sea of entertainment, gossip, and endless noise. When they attempt to go through labor arbitration or report to local labor bureaus, all they usually run into are legal loopholes crafted by film production companies using layers of subcontracting, or cases where they were never even given an official employment contract to sign in the first place. They are the real victims, the most powerless and silent souls caught in the harsh winter of this industry. Celebrities chasing unpaid debts turns into a high-stakes drama for the internet to watch, while ordinary workers demanding their pay is nothing more than a silent tragedy in the dark, known to no one, often fought for at the cost of their very lives. Yet, is the sheer desperation of crying out to deaf ears isolated to the entertainment industry or Hangdian World Studios? Absolutely not. The massive wave of celebrity debt collection dominating Weibo's trending lists today resonates so deeply with ordinary netizens because, amid the current economic downturn, the specter of unpaid wages has transformed into an indiscriminate epidemic, haunting the lives of millions of everyday people. Just take a look at the real world around us. In recent years, the real estate crisis has left behind countless abandoned, half-built ghost towns. Behind those frozen construction sites stand thousands of construction workers, carpenters, and stonemasons shivering together in the cold outside sales offices during snowstorms, desperately demanding the wages earned from a whole year of hard labor. Amid manufacturing transitions and declining foreign trade orders, countless factories have opted to quietly shut down and flee in the middle of the night. Workers only realize the gates are locked tight when they arrive for work the next morning. Their bosses have vanished without a trace, and months of unpaid back wages instantly evaporate into memory. Even in several regions, non-civil service staff, sanitation workers, and city bus drivers are facing tough times as local fiscal crises force continuous delays in their paychecks. So what about these everyday people? They don't have social media accounts backed by millions of followers like the stars do, nor do they have PR teams or professional lawyers standing by to fight for their rights. When their wages are withheld, when the meager paychecks that keep their families afloat are nowhere to be seen, what can they actually do? All they can do is roll out white banners painted with black letters, standing helplessly in the biting cold winds outside government buildings. All they can do is flood the comment sections across social media platforms, tagging official accounts one by one with a tiny shred of hope, wishing that a big influencer or news outlet might spare a glance at their plight. Yet, the reality on the ground hits brutally hard. Their posts are systematically wiped under the guise of maintaining positive social energy, and their banners are instantly snatched away by swift arriving security officers. They are the strongest foundation of this society, yet they are the most silenced of all. When a celebrity demands unpaid wages on the internet, it's viewed as a public stand for justice. What they get is public attention, trending topics, and concessions from investors. On the flip side, when ordinary people demand their hard-earned money in the real world, it's a desperate fight for survival. What they receive in return is often endless finger-pointing, convoluted excuses, and a long, emotionally draining ordeal, as if their desperate cries never reach heaven or earth. This Weibo trending topic in July 2026, in a way that feels almost like dark humor, slaps us all square in the face with the rawest and most brutal snapshot of labor conflicts and the current economic ecosystem in Chinese society today. It serves as proof that in this giant game played between capital and power, when the collapse of an era hits, not a single layer of society can truly escape or stand safely on the sidelines. Celebrities and artists who once thought they could hide in their ivory towers forever. Those making millions of yuan a day and spending money like water are now forced to face reality as capital dries up. At the end of the day, they are nothing more than blue-collar workers who happen to wear expensive designer labels. When their glass houses shattered into pieces, they too had to swallow the bitter pill of unpaid wages, forced to scream on social media for their basic rights, just like manual laborers. However, this wave of celebrity debt collection shouldn't be dismissed as mere celebrity gossip to be read and forgotten. It's more like a cold warning bell, reminding us all, when even the big stars perched high above have to sacrifice what's left of their pride, publicly demanding their pay online, just to get their money back. What about the millions of ordinary folks and everyday workers, trapped in dark corners untouched by camera lights? Those without a voice, without fans, and without access to defend their rights? Just how heavy is the crush of daily life they are bearing right now? A healthy society shouldn't only stand up for justice when trouble hits high-profile stars. A truly humane environment should listen closely to the cries coming from construction sites, factories, and the hidden corners of production sets, the ones shedding the most sweat and bearing the heaviest burden, but who can't even get their cries of, "Give us back our hard-earned money," to break into the trending lists. When the tide goes out, we finally realize that we're all in the same leaking boat, tossing and turning in the middle of a storm. The proud masks of these stars have shattered into pieces, so how much longer can ordinary people like us hold on? Tearing through the dark curtain of the entertainment world to look straight into the harsh reality of our time. Keep supporting this channel. We will never sing praises for A-list celebrities. We are here solely to give a voice to the unheard cries of ordinary people, so their honest shouts continue to echo. If you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the same thing I am.